NOAHWEAKARM.
I can't believe the day is here. Mattel, Street Sharks, the 30th anniversary. Let's just get into it. Up first, let's talk about my boy over here. This is Ripster. He's the leader of the Street Sharks. He's a great what?
He's the leader of the Street Sharks. He's a great what?
Ripster is, as his name entails, ripped. Can I just say that I just really friggin' love how these things look, safe for that, right? Give me perfection, Mattel. Nah, I'm gonna be real, I don't even care about that or that up on top of his head. We've got lovely, smoothened out details for the skin, very bumpy, groovy textures on the teeth. On the inside of the mouth, we'll get some light detailing on the pink roof of the mouth and some light detailing on the floor of the mouth as well. The teeth will be painted on all sides, no matter what. So despite the overall body of these things being rubber, the detailing is really, really nice. I mean, he's got his Street Shark six-pack of totally rippedness going on. He's got the lovely outline of his mouth and even his nostrils and everything. His gills are up here on his head, which is pretty cool. And he's even got some musculatures and veinage going on his back. And look at that beautiful metallic and shiny paint job he's sporting. Really cool. We will see the same kind of attention to detail on the arms, muscles, and veins. Look away, Martha. These sharks have fingernails. Lovely detailing on the fists, the knuckles, the top of the hands, and yes, the fingernails. These are some swole-ass shark humans, and they want you to know. I mean, goddamn, bro. What is your workout routine? Dude's got a chin that can sink the Titanic. Moving into the more normal part of the figure, we've got pants, belt, some cowboy boots going on, some lovely detailing on these here jeans. I mean, the frayed ends, the threads and everything. He's even got butt pockets, and even the belt loops are going to have details on them. Good show, Mattel. Sheesh. Moving on into these cowboy boots, I mean, jeez. I don't even know if the original figure's cowboy boots were this detailed. I mean, they probably were to some extent, but sheesh, I'm still impressed. On the bottom of the feet, we'll get Made in China, Hyde 57, and 2023 Mattel with a whole bunch of numbers and Mary Jane, New Light. Now, I never owned the original Ripster figure, but people who did have pictures of them up on the internet, and I gotta say, this looks pretty dang good. And I think you could tell just by looking at these two side by side just how much has changed. I mean, the entirety of the lower body was all a solid piece. I think we had a waist swivel and swivels at the arms with the mouth opening gimmick. Yeah, the original figures really didn't have too much. In fact, Streaks over here, I believe, is one of, if not the only Street Sharks figure with wrist swivels. Figured I'd get these two side by side. Ripster is a bit bigger. I do feel the two other figures are more in line with this, but he is the leader of the Street Shark, so height advantage, I guess. But this is where it started, and this is where it is. You can already, look at these two things. Legs are all solid. You'll get a swivel at the waist, swivels up here and at the wrists, and that's it, and that was exclusive to just him. But yeah, I just wanted to toss this in there. Now to move on to Jab. Or as Vin Diesel so lovingly called him, Sledge.
Sledge the Hammerhead.
As that was his original name in the prototyping process. Jab over here is more or less going to be a lot like Ripster. Look at those abs. Look at the swole, yes. The paint on the eyes is nice. I always thought Jab looked sad as a kid, and here, he still looks sad. Everybody ask Jab to Jab, but nobody ever asked Jab if he's sad. Lovely muscular and veiny looking details on the arms. Both sides for the most part. More fingernail detail. Although Jab is going to have an open hand, whereas Ripster has two fists. Articulation spoiler, but fingernail details, knuckle details, veiny skeletal details, yeah. And then we're going to have Jab's camo pants. A very light, bright, and vibrant blue mixed with black, white, and some black combat boots for good measure. No, those aren't knee pads. He is going to have tears in his jeans, showing off some of his Street Sharkian knees. Do I even want to think about what Street Shark feet probably look like? No. No, I don't. No. The detailing on the boots are rather nice. Typical wavy, separation-y pieces, but those laces, very lovingly done. Gonna have some nice detailing on the bottom of the feet. Oh, where's his Mattel stamp? Is it on his ass? Yeah, it's on his ass. But like I said with Ripster, I really do enjoy the amount of detail that went into, clothes. While his belt loops might not be crazily textured. You can see that it does differ from the belt, and even the belt is going to have some cuts or scrapes in them. And we'll also get those little sewed-in threads there too. Fantastic looking figure over here. Love how buff he is. Love all the line work going on over here. Love just how bumpy and groovy the tip of his head is going to be, or the top of his head. And just overall, I love this. This is actually the first time I'm owning a screen-accurate Jab in my entire life. As my copy of Jab, which won't be pictured here in this review because I haven't found it yet, but I know I have it, was silver. I got the metallics line. That's when I got into Street Sharks as a whole. Whatever wave of the figures that was. Not like you could properly tell as a kid because god damn there was so many Street Sharks toys. What was it from like 94 to 96? They released all of this consistently. Wow. And the hardest one to find? Streaks. And here is what Jab is going to look like in comparison to what he looked like in the show. He had a bit of a darker shade going on. Here he's more so gold copperish looking. And then here he is compared to the original figure, which, yeah, that's pretty on point. And here he is compared to the version that I had as a kid. And to this day, I still feel the same. I only got the silver version because the normal version wasn't available anymore. Oh yes, and before I forget, which I totally didn't, gonna have some nice pink gums for Jab, the same amount of paint and detailing on the teeth. The inside of the mouth is going to have that two-tone color that Ripster had with the same amount of details. And that's about going to wrap it up for the Street Sharks for Wave 1, and I'm gonna give both of them 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail. Simple, short, sweet. Clean. Let's move on to Slash. Holy Toledo, would you look at this Vaporwave fish? My god! This is another one of the figures that I never owned as a kid. I believe Slash was only released once. So once it was gone, it was kind of gone. Never ran into it as a kid, and let me tell you, I'm very bummed that I never did because look at this color scheme. Look at this design as a whole. He's a friggin' drill-nosed swordfish. There's no such thing as a drillfish, right? Beautiful detailing on the top of his mohawk fin over here. Love the combination of the metallic seafoam and purple on his head with that very beige-looking eye and inner mouth. And I especially love just how beautifully detailed the scales on this guy are. Bro is just one of the prettiest evil dudes ever, despite his personality being comparable to that of a dude wipe. It's a wipe you use for your ass. The drill is shiny and plain looking, not too many details going on over there, but the more you look at the figure from either angle, the more you really do see. And just look at how beautifully obvious these scales are from afar. It's so eye-catching, not just for the color, but damn. Look at all that detail, that stuff is so good. And look at that Dr. Paranoid logo on his shoulder blade up here. Love it. Got some minor detailings on this part of his nose. Minor detailing all around when it comes to the clothes or the jumpsuit that he's wearing. The claws are going to be nicely recreated, very lovingly detailed, so cool. Love that you see the scales kind of fading into something that a fish so obviously shouldn't have. Is it a mistake? Is it a stroke of genius? Either or, looks great. Same could be said for these disgusting little fish feet over here. It almost looks like these were his fins, and then his tail just split in half and grew feet. Golly gee, the show and the figure line might have been for kids, but the implications are painful. I love it. And just look at them fishy souls. I gotta give Mattel a lot of credit. I'm sure there's some possibility that these are the original molds, just updated for the modern day. I'm not even sure Mattel even stated how these things were made, so let's just assume that. New molds, old molds, remolds, whatever have you. This guy is friggin' awesome. All 3 of them are friggin' awesome. And just look at this perfection when compared to the original figure. It's pretty friggin' spot on. And here's what Slash looked like in the show. And I will be giving Slash 2 solid stars in terms of paint and details. And now it is time to cover the gimmicks. And since Slash is already here, we're just gonna talk about him first. He's gonna have a little lever back here. You pull it and the drill is going to drill. Very nice. You are getting very sleepy. Buy Street Sharks now. I'm not sure if the original figure actually was able to shoot this off. I've heard that it did. I just can't tell you for sure. But while you can't shoot this off of this version of the figure, you can take it off, revealing some nice little details. Yeah, now you're getting sleepy, and now you want to buy Street Sharks figures so Rob can get more waves. No. Now, when it comes to the Street Sharks themselves, they all do share a particular gimmick with one another, that being just pull down on their fins and remember why it was never safe to go back in the water. Look at that. So nice. When you street and she's still sharking you, but the sharks also have other gimmicks. As with Jab, just turn his arm and boom, the hammerhead is going to launch his friggin' hammerhead at you. And it's actually really cool because Mattel added detailing over here, as if they gave the gimmick a canon meaning, which I very much enjoy. Hey bro, why you got a spinal region in your face? It doesn't jut out too far, but it looks cool. I mean, it looks ridiculous and painful or whatever, but hey, I fuck with it, and I know this is going to be a bit of an articulation spoiler, but you can very much still articulate the arm in whatever way you want, and you can still have the gimmicking for you. Lovely. On to Ripster. Just like Jab, old Ripster over here can open his mouth just by pushing down on his fin. And one of the reasons why I really enjoy these being rubber body figures, at least for the upper torso, is just that when you see the mechanics lifting everything up and all that, the rubber responds and kind of just looks like a shark. Well, looks like a real thing is moving here and everything. Looks cool. I dig it. And just like Jab, we are going to get a spring-loaded feature for Ripster over here. His, of course, being a punch. Go on, Rip. Punch the camera. Good job. I'm immediately brought back to Mega Kong from Playmates for their GVK line. But this was also another gimmick that the original figure had that I never owned. Yeah, it's a pretty cool gimmick. Thanks for keeping the gimmicks alive, Mattel. I'm gonna give these things a solid star for each of their gimmicks. And now we can do some size comparisons. Ripster over here will be standing at slightly under 7 inches tall, while Jab will be standing slightly over 6 inches tall and Slash slightly under 6 inches tall. Shokugan, Movie, King, Sham, NECA, this guy. They're around the same height as the original figures. They look and feel like the original figures with the proper 2024 upgrade. Mattel killed this, and oh yeah, we gotta talk about the boxes. So every figure is going to be in a cardboard box, but within that cardboard box is going to be a soft plastic cage, which yes, is indeed collapsible and yeah, that. Unfortunately, they don't have a bottom to them, so putting these things back in the cardboard boxes is very much recommended. And speaking of those cardboard boxes, I hate that they were glued, but I guess all of the box budget went to including a box within the box. And gonna get the Street Sharks logo, gonna get the overall metallic cage looking vibe to this. Danger, chilling, drilling, action. Press my lever if you dare. And over here, my favorite part, the 30th anniversary Street Sharks logo. This is so nice looking. I dig it. And on the side of the box, it'll tell you how to press down a lever. On the opposite side, try me, I drill. And then on the back of the box is where the real cool stuff's gonna be going down. Pretty sure this is classic artwork, and if it isn't, whoever redid it, they did a damn fine job of it. Got a little bit of a read up going on. Pause now if you want to read it. Tells you to put his drill back on because when he shows up, it is not attached. The other figures in the wave, and a nice little read-up on Slash. Talk about a labor of love. I wasn't expecting this, and I definitely wasn't expecting the packaging, but the packaging was just so synonymous with that of Street Sharks. They were shark cages. Like, that's genius. And if you're not an idiot like me, getting the cage back into the cardboard box is very, very easy. And for the sake of showing everything, Ripster, Jab, try me, I bite, try me, I bite. Here will be the sides of the boxes, the opposing sides of the boxes, the bottom, the top, and the back with their exclusive showcasing of gimmicks and then some, including read-ups. Pause if you want to read. We're done. Box design and keeping true to the shark cage aspect, a solid star. Thank you so much, Mattel. Wave 2 when? Wave 3 when? Wave 4 when? Come on, we need Slobster, we need Killamari, we need Moby Lick, we need everybody. please. Now, since I already showed off the gimmicks, we can get into articulation, and the articulation for each figure is mostly going to be the same. Not too much of a difference between all of them, which is honestly just fine. And just the fact that we have Street Sharks figures that have arms that can swivel and bend and the whole 9 yards is crazy in and of itself. Legs can kick up about that far, maybe a bit further. Yeah, there we go. Back about that far. Jesus Christ. Back about that far. They can go out like so we can get some Street Shark splits. Nice bend at the knee, bend in, bend out. And Ripster is actually going to have a ball joint at his ankle. Not too crazy of a pivot due to how the pants are, but movement is possible. And you know, since his waist is spring-loaded, he can't really swivel at the waist. Jab, however, can. All the way around. Jab's feet will only be able to swivel because there is no ball joint in there. Now, Slash is essentially going to have everything that these two have, including a torso swivel right there. And he's going to have a hinge in the ankle, which, due to his ankle, neither here nor there. I like that it's there, but yeah. Oh yeah, and when it comes to the sharks, these legs can shift down a little bit. I don't know if that's intended or if that's just part of the build, but yeah. Worth letting you know. Articulation's gonna get a solid star for each, and now we can move into posability.
Posability-wise, yes, these guys definitely have more than they did back in the 90s. And while they're not, you know, SH Figuarts figures, and oh wow, now that I've said that, I really friggin' want that. Bandai, get at it, please. It's never gonna happen. They're very similar to that of Mattel's Masters of the Universe figures. I don't know if those were anniversary releases or not, but they took these mostly solid figures that were mostly just gimmicks and articulation, gave them the new agey articulation for that of the standard figure, and made them better than they ever friggin' were. And as a kid from the 90s that played with these things until they fell apart, having them again today in the 2020s, in my 30s, it really does remind me of what it feels like to be a kid again. And I cannot wait for the second wave of these things, and I really hope Mattel are open to doing even more, because these two waves barely even scratch the tip of the iceberg. Is that right?
And that, friends and neighbors, is that. Street Sharks are back. Hopefully for more than 2 waves, Mattel, please. But if it is just 2 waves, I will take that. I will hold them very near and dear to my heart, and I will probably be buying second copies of each of these just to keep in the box, hang on my wall, and appreciate both in and out. I've been ShinRobjira. Sorry for this being the only video coming out this week. I was working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And when next we meet, either Gorgo or comic book version Shockwave. Either of the two. Peace.
Rocky Balboa action. Do 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 do.